One of the most spectacular dramas in 2022 was the fall of the FTX crypto exchange in November. The adverse event caused many crypto platforms to file for bankruptcy, costing investors millions, and brought revived scrutiny to the digital asset industry. On December 13, 2022, the United States Department of Justice indicted former FTX CEO Sam Bankman-Fried and financial authorities including the SEC and CFTC filed lawsuits against SBF. In the DOJ's indictment, SBF has been charged with 8 counts including wire fraud, conspiracy to commit wire fraud, defrauding investors, conspiracy to defraud investors, money laundering, and others which we won't be discussing today. In this video, we will discuss what wire fraud is, its penalty, and why SBF has been charged with wire fraud. So what is wire fraud? 18 U.S. Code Section 1343 provides that wire fraud occurs when a person intentionally and voluntarily uses a communication device that sends information over state lines as part of a scheme to defraud another out of money or other valuables. It can involve the use of a landline telephone, cell phone, computer, tablet, or another electronic device. Wire fraud can involve many different schemes to defraud a person using electronic communications such as emails, web pages, and social media. According to the DOJ's indictment, SBF orchestrated a massive fraud whereby he reportedly used his customers' deposits to fund his political ambitions, multiple businesses, and luxurious lifestyle. The DOJ alleges that SBF repeatedly lied to clients, lenders, and investors about the structure of FTX and how he managed their funds. Examples of such misrepresentations include FTX investors' funds being sent directly to Alameda Research, rather than being held on the FTX exchange as investors believed they were, and using FTX investors' funds for investments made by Alameda Research. There are limits to wire fraud allegations. For a crime to be considered wire fraud, it must be started in a state and targeted at by people or organizations in another state or country, just like FTX. This offshore crypto custodian targeted customers in Singapore, Canada, and other regions. In addition, the U.S. Constitution forbids a suspect who acted in good faith to be prosecuted. That is, if a wire fraud suspect still can turn things around and ensure customers get their funds back, he cannot be prosecuted. This was the initial defense system that Sam Bankman-Fried held when he requested to be allowed to make amendments. However, after several investigations, authorities discovered that FTX was damaged beyond recovery, and charges were brought against SBF. So what are the penalties for wire fraud? Well, a person charged with wire fraud can face a separate charge for each act of fraud. For a single conviction of wire fraud, you could face the following penalties: a prison sentence of up to 20 years, fines not exceeding $250,000. Due to the wire fraud count alone, SBF could face up to 20 years in prison and a fine of $250,000. So, will federal prosecutors hold SBF accountable for the unprecedented collapse of FTX? Stay tuned. Cheers.